right ahead.
Okay, so the introduction, can you go to the next slide so I could read the Brown Act stuff? Thank you.
Are you seeing, you're not seeing this in slideshow mode, are
No,
you?
it's not in presentation mode.
There we go. How about now?
Perfect. Okay, great. Okay, this meeting is compliant with the Governor's Executive Order N-29-20 issued on March 17th, 2020, allowing for deviation of teleconference rules required by the Brown Act. The purpose of this is to provide the safest environment for staff, committee members, and public while allowing for public participation. The public may address the committee using exclusively remote public comment options. The committee may take action on any item listed in the agenda. Public meeting videos. Members of the public may view the Open Space and Ecology Committee meeting by logging into the Zoom meeting listed below. Open Space and Ecology Committee meetings can also be viewed live and or on demand via the city's YouTube channel, www.youtube.com/BrisbaneCA, or on Comcast Channel 27. Archived videos can be replayed on the city's website at http://brisbaneca.org/meetings. To address the committee, the Open Space and Ecology Committee, OSEC, meeting will be an exclusively virtual meeting. The OSEC agenda materials may be viewed online at www.brisbaneca.org at least 24 hours prior to a special meeting and at least 72 hours prior to a regular meeting. Remote public comments. Meeting participants are encouraged to submit public comments in writing in advance of the meeting. Aside from commenting while in the Zoom meeting, the following email and text line will also be monitored during the meeting, and public comments received will be read into the record during oral communications or during an item. The email is aetherton@brisbaneca.org, or you may text at 415-203-8897. You may join the Zoom meeting at www.brisbaneca.org/zoom-osec. The meeting ID code is 976-4295-0160. The passcode is 544511. You may call in at 669-900-9128. If you need special assistance to participate in this meeting, please contact Adrian Etherton at aetherton@brisbaneca.org or call 415-508-2118. Notification in advance of the meeting will enable the city to make reasonable arrangements to ensure accessibility to this meeting. Okay, I'd like to call this Open Space and Ecology meeting on May the 18th to order.
19th. May 19th.
Excuse me?
It's
May 19th. Sorry. May 19th, sorry. To order, roll call. Michelle?
Here.
Ross? I know he's here.
Oh, sorry, muted. Here.
Thank you. Barbara?
Here.
Glenn? I know Glenn's here. Right? I think she's on.
Glenn, you're probably muted.
Yeah.
Here.
Thank you. That's all right. Jason?
Here.
And Shauna?
Here.
So we have a full house. Adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the agenda for tonight's meeting?
I'll move.
I'll second.
All in favor? Michelle?
Aye.
Okay, everybody, aye.
Aye.
We do
Okay.
need a roll call vote.
We need a roll call vote. Okay. Michelle?
Aye.
Ross?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Shauna?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, oral communications. I don't know if this is the place to mention it, but Glenn, did you want to advocate for that wildlife conference, I believe it was.
Better in chair and committee member matters, really?
Pardon me?
Better in chair and committee member matters. This is
Oh,
for the public to comment on items.
Oh, okay, alrighty,
That's okay.
that's fine.
Mary, do you have that email handy? I was just looking for it and can't find it.
I'll bring it up on my phone. Let me find it real quick.
Okay. We can take it later.
Okay.
I just wondered if you had the email.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. All right. Approval, I am assuming there's no oral communications. So we'll move on to approval of the minutes. I believe the minutes for March and April were attached for our review, hoping everyone had time to take a look at it. And if there are no changes or additional comments, can someone make a motion to approve the minutes?
Move to approve the minutes.
I'll second.
All in favor? Michelle?
Aye.
Sorry, run through the list. Michelle?
I approve the March minutes. I abstain from the April minutes. I was not attending that meeting.
Okay, thank you. Ross?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Shauna?
Aye.
All right, so minutes are approved for both March and April. Thank you. There's no old business unless there's something that was forgotten.
We just keep it in there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, new business. The first thing is the climate emergency declaration. I believe there was a resolution attached for our review. Hopefully everyone had a chance to take a look at it.
Definitely.
Great.
So I don't know, does someone from the CAP subcommittee want to introduce this item? Barbara or Glenn, would you like to do the honors?
I think Barbara had more to do with writing it than I did. So Barbara, why don't you go ahead?
It was definitely a group effort.
Oops.
It was suggested to us by our lovely staff, Adrian, in part because we have been prevented from working on a new climate action plan, which is the most important tool for climate action planning. And so this was kind of an interim thing that we're doing to make a solid commitment to what we all know needs to happen. It doesn't go into a great deal of detail about how it will happen. It is sort of an overarching document, but it definitely sets out some new goals that I think we're very proud of, and I'm hoping the city council will follow through on, because I want to be very proud of them too. Glenn wants to add something.
Yeah, just a couple things. A number of California cities have passed these declarations, and it is kind of consistent with the argument that a lot of scholars about the climate and advocates of a stable climate are making, which is that we really need to change the messaging around climate policy, that this really is an emergency. That means, we have to take very significant action. We have to do it immediately. So I think part of the point of these declarations is to change the messaging to the public and try to get people to pay a little bit more attention to climate issues.
Definitely.
Okay. So I'm not sure how we want to do this. Does anybody from the committee that wasn't involved in drafting the declaration have any particular questions or comments, or would you like me to pull up the draft document and go through it? Jason, I see a hand.
Yeah, I just, my comment was I thought it was real well written, and thank folks who did it for doing it. I looked at the granular level of comments and of commas and things. I thought it was just handy. So thank you for whoever wrote it. I thought it was intelligent and real well done.
Yeah, as Barbara said, it was definitely a group effort with the Climate Action Plan Subcommittee, Barbara and Nyla each took a stab at an original draft, and then the committee worked through combining them and refining. And I agree. I think it came together very nicely.
So is the protocol for us to approve this draft resolution and then it goes before council?
The protocol would be to recommend that
Okay.
recommend the council adopt. The committee
Okay.
doesn't actually approve anything. It's that the committee makes a recommendation
Okay.
to council. So, you know, if everybody feels like this is great, this is you know, ready as it is to move forward for consideration, then that's definitely excellent.
I mean, actually, I went through it and I just can't come up with anything else to add. And I think there's a lot of coverage here.
You want to talk at all specifically about how we're asking the state to go further, what they've, you know, committed to? That's
Yeah, I mean, I think it is worth noting, you know, that the goals that we have outlined here are, you know, more advanced than the current state goals. The state's current goal for carbon neutrality is 2045. The current goal for 2030, both at the state and national level, is 50% reduction below the 2005 baseline. So, you know, we were trying to come up with goals that felt realistically achievable, but also ambitious. And so that's how we arrived at the numbers that we did, with a 66% reduction by 2030 and carbon neutrality by 2040. You know, I think that is a push, and so we'll have to, you know, really dig deep to figure out how we get there. But I'm hoping that, you know, the council will agree that those are goals that are achievable, and, you know, as the resolution says, commit to putting the effort of the city and putting some budget behind the things that we'll need to do in the next 9 years and to really make a big cut. Right now we're at, as of the 2017 emissions inventory, we've achieved just over 20% reductions from the 2005 level. So we've got a long way to go in the next 9 years.
Yeah. Has anyone considered, I was thinking about this. I mean, there's a lot of things that you guys are responsible for, and, you know, all the other committees as well. Have we thought about actually like getting a head count that would specifically monitor all this and track all the improvements and special projects related to, you know, climate change and this declaration? Because when I look at this, there's a lot that needs to get done. And you almost need someone who's just solely dedicated to this purpose.
Oh, I thought that was Adrian.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think.
It kind of is. I have a few other responsibilities, but most of them do fall.
But you have a lot going on. So, I mean, there's a lot that you have on your plate. So.
Well, I mean, we made do with part-time staff for a really long time, and the city council was good enough to move us up to a full-time, and now Adrian has a full-time position. So I'm sure, knowing how the universe works, I'm sure that bucket filled up almost immediately.
Yeah.
But at least we're not trying to do this with a part-time staff person, and I think other departments will help feed information to her. I certainly hope they're not going to all just string her out on her own.
And we have Bob too.
I was going to say, Karen and Bob, and, you know, Nyla's only with us for a short time, but we have that, you know, resource and definitely
I know, I just look at the list
in the city who have a role in various aspects of this, for sure.
And Adrian's a strong woman, so I'm sure.
Yeah. But she is. All right.
And figure out how to
She's trying to get some extra help, that's all.
I'm working on that all the time.
Okay, good.
Oh, Adrian, what's the motion to move this forward?
I think we should let Glenn say something first.
Oh,
Yeah,
is she, I'm sorry, I didn't see her hand raised.
Glenn did have her hand raised, but it would be a motion to recommend to council to just go ahead and answer your question. Glenn?
I was just going to say in response to what Mary brought up that the Climate Action Plan Subcommittee also keeps fairly close track of what we're doing and how, to what extent goals are being met and what we still need to do. So I think our progress is being tracked fairly well.
Okay.
I'm personally more worried about how we're going to hit the goal that we've set.
I guess that was my concern because they're really stretch goals, right? They are above and beyond. And I hope you guys didn't take that in a negative way. I was just trying to, given the stretch goals, it was just on my mind, like, is there any possibility of getting extra headcount to help with all of this?
In drafting this, some of the other ones we looked at had the 0 by 2040 goal. That was not unusual. What was kind of unusual is that we pushed for the 66 by 2030. And that I think made a lot of sense to us because front loading your emissions is in some ways easier because you get an opportunity to go after that low hanging fruit, number one. Number two, the sooner we start making those savings, the more space there is above the curve, the bigger the impact is, right?
Okay.
So things, if you think of the graph, the stuff on the left-hand side that's closer to where us now in the present in time is more important than what happens out in the future because of cumulative effects of things. So I probably didn't explain that very well.
Just like investing your money.
Yeah. Exactly. Except we're heading off feedback loops, so that I don't really feel like, I guess technically the 2040 goal is a little more ambitious than the state, but not much. And a lot of other people have committed to that. The only thing that I think that's really kind of stands out in terms of the level of ambition is the 2030 goal.
I see a hand from Michelle.
Michelle, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot. We should be raising our little hands. So, because I can't, you guys are all so tiny on the screen. I didn't realize Glenn had her hand raised. But I think that I'd like to make that motion that we go ahead and approve ask the council to approve.
Second that motion.
All in favor? Michelle?
Aye.
Ross?
Aye.
Barbara?
Aye.
Glenn?
Aye.
Jason?
Aye.
Shauna?
Aye.
Great.
Karen has her hand up.
Oops.
Yeah, I raised my hand just to speak to the first part of Mary's comment. The declaration within it said that we would report, right? Was it every year? And that's one thing, is that we're not really broadcasting where we are in terms of our inventories every year, every couple of years. So
Okay.
I mean, that kind of, you're on line with, you're on track with what we wanted to do with the declaration, and that's going to be more public, going forward.
Good point.
Okay.
Well, I think
All
that
right.
that's gone more smoothly than many of our declarations.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I was anticipating at least a few questions or comments or something we missed. So
It was really well written.
Yeah.
And the expression is changing from why wait while Rome is burning? Why wait while California is burning? Let's get on with it before it's too late.
Yeah.
Well, even this wind that we're having right now is probably an artifact of climate change. There's more energy floating around in the atmosphere. There's bigger temperature differentials in different parts of the atmosphere. So we end up with more wind, So
Agreed.
This is climate change right here.
Agreed.
So.
So any other comments on the declaration, or we'll move on to the next item.
Can I just have one moment to say, yay?
Let's clap.
You go.
Thank you.
Yay.
Thank you.
Glenn, you can say yay too.
Yay.
Everyone can say yay. Everyone can say
Yay.
Okay. All right, next item, meeting schedule, and this was requested by Barbara, so.
Okay, so my turn. So I actually asked for this. It's just like 3 or 4 months ago. But the things just, it got like kicked down, the can got kicked. And it's very personal and it's very trivial. But if it works for everybody else, I'd like to look at something other than the 3rd Wednesday of the month. I know things are pretty packed in terms of the city's calendar, so I don't know what our options would be. But I have something else that happens the 3rd Wednesday of the month, and it's difficult for me to juggle both. So I don't know. I think that's something we could probably, Adrian, if everybody's willing to consider it, Adrian could look at what other times might be available. And then we could do like a Survey Monkey or something to see if there's another time that does work for everybody. If not, I'll just continue to suffer, but.
I'm
Do
open
you remember
to
off the top of your head what it is? Park and Rec the 2nd Wednesday?
I think so, yeah.
But are the other Wednesdays currently open, as far as I know?
Maybe. Yeah,
Land
maybe.
and Council are both on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So I think for my part, I think Wednesday would probably be ideal to stick to, but I would be open if other committee members are to switching to a different Wednesday.
Be open to the 1st and the 4th Wednesday if you want to look. Fine by me.
me too.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah, that probably works for me. Other
Okay.
days would be harder,
Works
but
for
Wednesday
me.
should be okay.
It does for me too. I don't want to change the day of the week because I've kind of arranged my schedule around it.
Yeah, it's, it would just be something, it would just be a kindness to me. So if people have things that don't work, I'm okay with that.
No, absolutely. I think we should accommodate it.
Yeah.
So the other Wednesdays are okay for you, Barbara?
Yeah, it's only the 3rd Wednesday.
I think, Karen, should we have them vote on that, or do we need an official vote to? I don't know as far as process wise, since it is like a.
We can just change, but we should just make sure, look at is it the community meeting room calendar? It's the televised.
Yeah.
I guess I would just ask, is there anyone who can't do a different Wednesday?
I didn't hear that. And also I'm saying right now we're just studying it, right? We are saying we are moving it. We're just seeing if it can be moved. And then when we do move it, we can say we all voted to move it. Is that right?
We haven't voted, but what I was saying is there anyone who cannot do one of the other Wednesdays during the month? So that if Adrian
Right.
can move it, she can go ahead and move it and we're all good with it.
Right.
So is there anyone we're all here tonight. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone who can't do the 1st, 2nd, or 4th Wednesday of the month?
I think 2nd's out because of Park and Rec, so I think
Well, they may be willing to switch. So that's why I'm just saying.
I don't
Yeah,
want
you're right. That's 14 people instead of 7.
Okay, that's fine.
So
Whatever.
1st and 4th. We're just saying we're open
Okay.
to the 1st and 4th.
Okay, I'm good with that. I move that we move the meetings to the 1st or 4th Wednesday if those dates are available with the city.
Second.
Do that, yeah.
In favor, Michelle,
Aye.
Ross,
Fine.
Barbara,
Aye.
Glenn,
Aye.
Jason,
Aye.
and Shauna.
Aye.
Okay. So whatever works, someone will notify us, correct?
Yep, I'll check on the city calendar and let everybody know.
Great. All right,
Yeah, we are zipping right along here.
we are staff updates.
I was actually going to let Bob start with the staff updates. Drum roll.
All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I attended a workshop that Glenn recommended on the 30 by 30 plan.
You're not going to start with the other thing?
Oh, I didn't. Okay, sure. I thought you were doing that one. So last week in a last minute blitz, we were able to throw together a habitat restoration day. Yay!
Nice.
Yeah.
So we it came up quick once we heard that we're allowed to start having events, and this state was the one that worked with staff and Ariel, so there wasn't many options for the date, so we went ahead and solidified it. So on June 12th, everyone needs to register ahead of time because it is going to be limited to the amount of folks that can show up. It's a hard cutoff at 30 people, and we will be going out to Buckeye Canyon or Owl Canyon. I forgot which one, and maybe both. Buckeye. Okay, yeah, Buckeye Canyon for some invasive species removal, and then we are getting ready to arrange our following habitat days the rest of the year.
Yay, thank you.
Yay.
That's great.
So great to be getting back out there.
Yeah, we're getting back to normal. Okay, that's great. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks,
Oh, you're
Bob.
welcome.
All
You're
right,
welcome.
sorry to throw you off. Go ahead.
And I think Adrian deserves a lot of thanks too, because she got the ball rolling. Anyway, it was a group effort, but Adrian, it all happened so fast. It was crazy. Within one day of emails, we were all locked in and worked out.
A flurry of stuff. What day was that? Thursday last week. We're like,
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah, there's a lot of, well, anyways, 3 staff members and Ariel involved, but we worked it out in one day and we're good to go. And it's going to make it into the star.
Yay.
So
Thanks,
it'll be nice.
Adrian.
Yay.
Thanks, Karen. Thanks, Bob. Very
And
excited.
on I was at a weed management area meeting yesterday, and they asked if I could share the open space presentation that I shared with you all. So I shared that, and it's got that nice section about our volunteer events. And then right afterwards, there was a general discussion, and I'm not sure who she was with, but there's a woman there named Amy that was like, okay, I'm trying to do these volunteer events and no one shows up. Does anyone have any idea? And everyone was like, I don't know, ask Brisbane. There's always like dozens of people in his pictures. And so they were really impressed at our volunteer turnout. And so they're like, what are you guys doing? And I was like, well, we get sandwiches, but I think it's the spirit of the town. So anyway,
No,
I
it's the
felt bad.
sandwiches.
Yeah. All right. So another good news, Glenn recommended a workshop that I hadn't heard about was regarding the 30 by 30 plan, which is the effort to protect 30% of the state's lands and coastal waters by 2030.
Nice.
So I just got a follow-up email to that from that yesterday, and the governor has proposed over $2 billion in investment towards the 30 by 30 goal. And much of that will flow out in the form of grants. So that's a huge number, and we will see if that shakes out, and I'm sure I'll be hearing a lot about it if it does.
Great.
We have lots of stuff that we'd like to preserve. It's open space, that's for sure.
Definitely no.
Excellent. Yes. So those are my updates, and they're both on the positive side.
Well, they're great updates. Yeah.
Bob, do you have that flyer ready in a PDF form that we can promote?
Yes.
Okay.
Did-
And if
did you
we,
want-
yeah, I was going to put it on Facebook and stuff. If it doesn't tell what time that day and everything, so
Yeah, that was by design, because people have to go for the details so they register, because
okay.
didn't want them showing up. That's all in the registration. And we didn't have the actual link when I put this together. but if you go there, the events is one of the first tabs. So
I think it might be nice to say, add something to the flyer that says about needing to make an appointment to facilitate social distancing or something, so that people don't do what just happened here and look at the folder and like thing and the flyer without going to the website and be like, I wonder what time it is, you know?
Well, it says registration required
Okay.
and details it.
says
Mountain
limited to
Watch.
30 people, so sign up.
Yeah, it's limited. So,
I think it's all on there.
Sorry, it's for some reason my screen is cropping.
Okay.
oh,
yeah,
So
and in the blast,
Is that is that happening for others too? Is it on something on my end?
no,
Okay.
No, it looks okay to me.
that's fine.
Just checking.
So I have a question, if I could. If we get an overwhelming response, can we have 2 sessions that day, morning and afternoon?
Ariel's already got an afternoon session scheduled that day.
Okay.
So there will be habitat work being done, but I don't think we have the option for a second session.
Okay.
Okay.
But they're back on the radar. So hopefully we get an overwhelming response. And by the time we have our next one, we can have more folks.
Yeah.
Now, is that 30 volunteers plus us?
I think it's 30 people.
Total.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my understanding is that's currently what the county event limit
Okay.
is. So I believe that includes.
Yeah,
We'll take it. Yeah.
yeah. But if you want, I know a person who can't get anyone to go over to Huddard Park. I don't even know where that is. But,
Huddard Park is really cool.
Yeah.
yeah, I actually don't. I was gonna suggest sending the flyer our way. I'll see how ours goes, and then if people want to travel, but she doesn't get the sandwiches. They did suggest that. They're like, sandwich? All right.
Feed people.
So, and yeah, so that's all my updates.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, I will jump in here with a similar kind of update to Bob's. I attended a separate webinar last week about proposed climate and environment funding in the surprise state budget surplus of over $75 billion. So there's probably some overlap in the numbers I'll throw out here with the numbers, the 2 billion Bob mentioned for the 30 by 30 goal, but there is going to be a lot of money flowing down in the form of grants, primarily in the form of grants. So 3.2 billion to accelerate California's zero emission vehicle goals, 1.3 billion to prepare for extreme heat, sea level rise, and environmental justice priorities like oil well capping, toxic site cleanup, and pollution control, 5.1 billion in drought support, water supply, and natural landscape projects, and 2 billion in emergency preparedness investments, including firefighting equipment, and land and forest management projects.
Can you send that list to us, Adrian?
I can do you one better. I can send you the link to the press release that
Oh, yeah.
I pulled up from since I hadn't taken notes during the webinar.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of other, big priorities that are included on that list as well, like major investments in sheltering homeless individuals and early childhood education, and just a lot of big things in that list. So kind of nice to see an opportunity for some of these things after how dire the budget situation was just a year ago. So we'll see how that all comes out. And then on another much smaller scale, as far as funding and grants, we were notified yesterday that we were awarded a county 4R's mini grant to install a water bottle filling station for the police department and supply reusable water bottles for our police department. So hopefully that will help with our plastic water bottle use. And again, revenue related. I got a lot of money things in here this month. We signed up for a new Peninsula Clean Energy program to assign the low carbon fuel standard credits from our fast charging station to Peninsula Clean Energy going forward. Basically, when we installed the station, we looked into what it would take for us to claim them. And frankly, there was this very steep learning curve and a lot of paperwork required. So it didn't seem worth it for the one station. So we basically let ChargePoint claim them. And Peninsula Clean Energy is starting up a program for local cities to basically take on the administration and split the funds. So PCE will take 60% since they're covering administration, and they're going to put the revenue back into electric vehicle incentive programs, charging and whatnot, and we'll get 40%.
All right.
I felt like a pretty good deal. It was very little work on my part. So. How much money that will actually amount to, TBD, but seems like a little bit is better than zero. I think I reported on this last time, so there's not really a whole lot new updates, but we're continuing to work on the SB 1383 implementation. Randy has been drafting a couple of ordinances, one on the actual requirement for organics recycling, and one on procurement requirements. And then we've also just gotten a draft memorandum of understanding from the county, who will be leading the edible food recovery requirements. And they have a meeting for staff to discuss that program next week. So that will all be rolling out probably this fall. I think we'll be aiming to kind of finalize that and take a package to council. The implementation date or effective date is January 1st. Let's see.
Glenn has her hand up.
Hey, Glenn has her hand up.
Thank you, Glenn.
Speaking of procurement, Adrian, I sent you an email a few days ago about a new electric van producer. I was just wondering, there was somebody in the city that needed to buy a van. Did you?
Yeah, that was a while ago, and they purchased something quite a while ago already.
Okay.
But
Right.
yes, I did see that. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you on that one.
No worries.
Yeah, they I think that was one of the first things I looked into when I got hired. So it's been a little while, but hopefully they'll be ready for an EV when they need a new one again. I think I have two more. There was a Bayland subcommittee meeting on their energy neutral, their renewable energy proposal. So I know Mary and Ross, I think, were there, as were Karen and I. And the staff and the Bayland sustainability consultants are now kind of discussing what meets the definition of, kind of the what does zero mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I've been pushing for years to have it zero on site, but
yeah, it's there's some discussion to be had on what exactly that means and what's included, but I think there were a few things that will need to be addressed. And then the last thing, Glenn, actually, I will pop these into the chat. Glenn shared a couple of articles with me, I think right after I had sent the agenda out, or I would have included them there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put them in the chat, but I was also going to propose a kind of method in the future of, if folks have stuff that they want to share, I'm going to try to include that when I send out the agenda, so I can just have a selection of links. In order to do that, you probably need to send it to me no later than a week before, so I can make sure I collate everything, the day before the agenda goes out, which usually happens on Friday morning before. If there is something urgent that somebody sends me, I can, forward it one-off, but I'm going to try to just have a collection of recommended articles that'll come along with your agenda.
Glenn, oops.
I see 3 hands and I'm not sure I caught who.
Okay, Michelle, Glenn.
And
I was first, Jason was second, Glenn was third.
Okay.
I would prefer it if you send that to us in an email because the chat disappears when the meeting's over. So I have to take the time instead of paying attention to the meeting to try and copy and paste it into a Word document. So posting it in chat's really not a good way to communicate that. And I'd prefer it to have it in an email if that's all right with you, Adrian. Otherwise, I would have to do it right now, copy, paste it into a Word document, which is very distracting during a meeting.
I generally just click and open it and go back and read it later. But if that's that difficult,
I
will
don't.
go ahead and do that.
Yeah, that would be appreciated. Thank you.
Jason, you're muted.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, it is easy to just click on it, which is what I just did, and then open the tab. But to Michelle's earlier point, I quickly went over to the volunteer date, and there's only 10 slots left. So to Michelle's earlier point of having 2 sessions on the 12th, might be a good idea if we're going to, advertise this, and there's only 10 spots left. There was 12 when I got there. So just an idea.
So the slots, Ariel has to manage in a slightly interesting way because there is an opportunity to register more than one person at a time. He set the number lower than 30. I believe he set it originally at 15 and will adjust upward or downward depending on whether the people registering are registering one at a time or 4 at a time.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
We will have 30, but again, that 30 is set because that's what the county requirements currently allow, and he's already got an afternoon session planned for that same day.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yep. Glenn.
I was just going to say about articles, I just send them as I see them. If I don't do that, I won't send them. So
that's fine. I'm just letting you know that I'm probably not going to send them out one at a time. I'm gonna save them in a list for myself and send them out with the agenda.
Got it. And I didn't expect them to go out with this agenda because I knew it was too late when I sent them.
Yeah, understand. I just want everybody to know that there is that option, but that's how I'm gonna plan to manage it. So you'll start to see that at the bottom of your agenda emails.
Sounds good.
But don't just ignore the emails. Open it.
Nobody does that.
Never.
Oh, snap.
I think that was everything I had. Karen and Nyla. I'm going to let Nyla cover the building efficiency program.
Want to go first or me? Next, I should say. No,
Muted.
Not hearing you, Nyla.
I thought you were going to go first, Karen.
Oh, I said, do you want to, or did you care? I just have a couple, so I can go quickly. I have checked and talked with the maintenance team leader, and we do have a certain amount of money in the budget. If I didn't tell you this before, for deep root watering, so we're gonna. He said select tree. He's got certain trees that he's focused on. If you guys want to let us know about some, it's not a huge amount of money, but at least it was funded to water some of the trees, since I think we're heading into another drought summer.
Oh, good.
That was one. And then the other is that we applied for and got a grant for rubberized pavement maintenance that we're going to do on the frontage part of Sierra Point Parkway along 101. So it's using recycled tires, and what the grant is from Cal Recycle is the differential, the tire part of the cost. So like projects like that, they extend the pavement for less money than just putting more asphalt on top.
I think Michelle has a question or a comment.
Yeah, Karen, I'm glad they're going to do some deep root watering of street trees, but have we made any accommodation, or is there a possibility to make any accommodation for people who are willing to water the street trees in front of their house. Dolores Gomez asked me about that, and I said I would bring it up tonight. And we need to let people know which trees we're watering and which ones we're not. So if people want to voluntarily water the trees in their, area, they can do that, because I think it's really important to keep these trees healthy. We've made, 30 years of investment in several of these trees, and to be short-sighted now as we're going into a drought is not a good idea. And to wait until it's later is not a good idea either, because the trees will become stressed very quickly. We're already so dry, it's ridiculous, and these winds are exacerbating the situation.
Right. Yeah, you can think about a way for people to report. There's also the balance of if people are watering those trees will look better, because some of it is visual, deciding where to spread the resources, And I also want to mention for people that are new on the committee is that this kind of program idea started, I don't know, 4 years ago when we were in maybe a bad drought, a worse drought that year. It was pretty bad anyways. They were mandatory.
It was like 7 years of drought or something, and we were quite a ways into that drought at that point, and things have been really bad.
And mandatory reductions and all of that, at least for many agencies. So the idea, we're recycling water. So there are some requirements for the water system where we have dead end lines to flush the water so that it, tests properly and tastes okay and all of that. So that flushed water David Tree was doing this for us, collecting that water in a tank and then doing the deep root watering of the tree. So it's kind of a nice thing, and for 2 reasons.
Great. I think Shauna has a comment.
Actually, I just have a question. In the city, there's a lot of street trees, and FUF, or Friends of the Urban Forest, have put the tree bags on the post, the standing posts, and both the homeowners and FUF and the city fill them as they need to, and it really does go a long way to keeping the street trees in pretty good shape, minus the truck pruning, of course, but it certainly, I installed just tons of them on all of I made my clients purchase them for all their street trees, and it really did save them. And they they would I suggested that they put a bucket in their shower or in the sink, and then they filled it with gray water out of their own bathtubs, or they filled it up with tap water. I don't know, but they watered their trees with those bags throughout the whole last thing, and we didn't lose any trees. Is there any way that we can tell people to do that?
Is there any way we can purchase some for people to use?
Well, I think it would have to probably come out of that same budget, but when I was talking with the maintenance team leader, that's Joe Friars, he said the bags are great for watering the smaller trees. It's maybe even more useful than the probe deep root watering. That's better for the bigger trees. So yeah, let me get with him and see if we can make that part of the program.
Also, if they do use the bags, you need to have them attached to the poles that are in the thing, not around the tree itself, because it really rots out the crowns. That's a very important point.
Yeah.
Where can one purchase those bags?
Yeah, you can get them online.
You can get them online. The brand, I think, is Tree Gator. That's the people who invented it.
There's a couple of different brands at this point. So.
Yeah, Tree Gator are the people who invented it originally.
Anybody know off the top of their head about how much one costs?
Well, if you're just buying onesie twosies at retail, they're about $20. But I'm sure if you were buying a lot of them, you can get a better deal on them. So, and I'm sure they have some sort of municipal. If anybody knows anybody. Yeah, if anybody knows
25 on Amazon, I just looked.
If anybody knows anybody with Friends of the Urban Forest, I do have a few contacts who used to work with them. I'm sure they could point us in the right direction for a large purchase.
The photos show them attached to the trunks.
Which
They
is
shouldn't be.
not great.
Yeah, they shouldn't be. That's,
And yeah, and Friends of the Urban Forest did that in the trees in my neighborhood and planted, but
A lot of times if there's not a pole there, it's the lesser of two evils, but it really should be around a pole.
yeah, no, we got
Yep.
tree stakes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, so I learned something too.
Go out there and fix it, Karen.
Well, I think that we just put them when they were established. I don't think they're there anymore.
They were invented for helping trees get established, but they've been very useful during the drought for long-term watering and very useful for using your gray water to water your trees.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, good point. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Shauna, for
Sure.
reminding us about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so those were the only two I had.
Okay. Great. Anything else?
Nyla's turn now.
Okay, let's move to subcommittee reports.
No, we have Nyla's update.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yes,
Nyla.
yes.
Nyla, my apologies. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'll just introduce myself again. My name is Nyla. I'm working with the City of Brisbane on the Building Efficiency Program. I'm a Climate Corps fellow. And so I'm just going to give some updates in terms of where we are with the program. So our compliance deadline was reached on May 15th, which was last Saturday. We've had at least 50% of the buildings, I would say, just about, we have been in contact with. So we've had about 36 buildings have reported so far. And we have granted 23 extensions, and those are mostly our larger corporate entities that are within the city of Brisbane that we've been in contact with, of course. We have one temporary exemption and one permanent. And so we've made a lot of progress in terms of where we started. We've completed our outreach, and we're still doing some more outreach with some buildings that we haven't been able to get in contact with. But for the most part, we are definitely making progress. Adrian, did you want to add anything to that? Any notes?
I think just kind of, clarifying that the kind of next step is to, kind of, go through and reach out to those buildings that have not been in touch with us to, confirm, hey, we're working on it, but we're not able to get it in by the deadline. Which we were happy to hear from them and say, we know it's the first year and this is a big effort, so get it in as soon as you can. The ones that we haven't heard from and didn't have their report in yet is kind of our next phase of outreach to follow up with them and say, hey, this was due. We didn't hear from you. When are you going to get this in? So that's really kind of the outreach on the next step.
Oh, Glenn has her hand up.
I know it's early to be asking this, but do we have a way to find out if a building owner benchmarks their building and decides as a result of examining their energy and water use? Are we going to know if they decide to take voluntary measures to reduce their energy use? Do we have any kind of follow-up reporting designed in?
So the reporting is annual as far as benchmarking. So we expect to be able to see hopefully some improvement year over year, which might imply that they have done some kind of work. In 2 and 3 years, when we kick into the beyond benchmarking phase, that is when I think we'll really start to get a lot more insight into whether people have done work or not. So, that's kind of all self-contained within our program, where we'll be asking for updates on the things that they have done, and they'll be having audits and we'll have much more detailed reports than we get just from the benchmarking. Separately, and I don't have a lot of detail on how exactly and when exactly this is going to roll out, but the city has been doing a bit of a technology assessment, and we are hoping to have a more integrated data management system in the future. And one of the things that I hope will be possible from that is better understanding of what a benchmarked building might subsequently do as far as building permits or something along those lines. You know, there's a lot of devil in the details with that kind of thing, and I don't know if we'll get there in the near term, but that's something that I do hope there will be some, you know, better insight into in the longer term, you know, as kind of a more citywide.
Yeah, I hear you, and I know that we'll be able to infer actions taken by subsequent benchmarking, but I guess what I'm asking here is a little bit different. It's more anecdotes that could be used to, you know, publicize the program and to further encourage building owners that might be kind of reluctant that, hey, this was great, you know, we did this and we saved money, that kind of thing. It would be nice if we had some way to get those, and I'm not sure exactly what that way would be.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think probably Nyla has been building some good contacts, you know, becoming buddies with some of these folks. She had her Climate Corps training last Friday, so I got a couple of calls from people she had worked with, and clearly they have, you know, a lot of interest in and have been very open with us about kind of their situations and what they're doing. So I do think that there is an opportunity for us to, you know, work with these folks on an ongoing basis. I'm definitely starting to think of this as more a year-round communications opportunity than just the compliance deadline is coming and you report and then you're done. We do have a lot of resources to share. And as we, you know, continue to refine the lists of building contacts through all of this effort, I think it really gives us a opportunity to reach out to them when we have those, you know, great rebate incentives. Tell us if you act on any of this. I think that opportunity is there for us, provided we can continue to, you know, have the bandwidth to do that.
I think Barbara had her hand up first and then Michelle.
Yes, that's correct.
So just because I'm a little, it's been a while since I've looked at this, compliance deadline, compliance for what?
For the building, commercial buildings to benchmark.
Okay, so they were supposed to have their report in by the compliance deadline?
Yes.
But we've got a little less than half right now, right?
We've got about half.
Well, I mean, at least we're doing better with that than we're doing with the Airbnbs. I was hoping a little more than half, but you know what? We'll get there. It'll be all right. First year.
Yeah. I mean, I was hoping we were going to see more like 75%, and we might still get there, but it's definitely going to take a few more efforts, I think. So,
okay.
Michelle?
Nyla, I think you've done a great job, and I'm so happy that you've been here as our intern. I'm wondering if before your internship ends, you could write an anecdotal, do some conversations with the people that you've worked with and write an anecdotal report about any of the measures they've taken and any folks that we should follow up with, and kind of a more of a narrative a thing from your experience working with these people. You obviously have a wonderful relationship with them, and I would love for us to learn from that and learn what things have been successful and how we can build on the work you've done, because it's really been a really awesome, groundbreaking stuff that you've done so far. Suggestions? What do you think, Nyla?
I think that's an exceptional idea. I think you're absolutely right in building relationships with these building owners. I love that you mentioned that, Adrienne, and having it being an ongoing relationship. I think it's something they're definitely open to, especially in terms of education. I think I get a lot of questions about, okay, I understand I have to do this, but this is it. Like once they finish, like, this is it. Like, is there more? And so I think there's definitely, opportunity for us to discuss what education in terms of solar or whatever those next steps look like. So absolutely.
So as part of your legacy, I would love to see that report if you come back as an intern or for our next intern to take up where you left off and work those people and find out what things they've done, because I'm so excited about that.
I think Karen.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we picked the time period to have our climate fellow because we kind of knew that there'd be a lot of work even after the May 15th deadline. So that was back to the point earlier, is that we knew we'd still be like corralling people and things, and understand the first year that like you set this up, this year is a hard part to set everything up, and then it's going to be a lot easier to report every year. So we kind of, we knew we wouldn't get to 100, but I'm impressed with how many we've gotten.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to, further kind of clarify that, so Nyla is with us until the end of August for her fellowship. We are due to report to the state by August 1st. And my plan was to have Nyla present to OSEC in August with kind of a final report. And I definitely think including not just numbers of compliance, but recommendations on where we go from here, and stories, case studies of what we've learned is definitely something we wanted to be a part of that. I think Shauna maybe was next, and then Barbara, is that right?
Yep, I think so. Shauna?
Yeah, so I have a question, being that I'm new and I'm not really, I don't know about this project. I was just curious about, all right, so you've got 50% compliance. That actually doesn't sound very good to me, but what are the carrots or sticks that we could use to get better compliance? And, do they get, yes, that's my question. How do we get better compliance? And
so the ordinance, 50% is actually not bad as far as these programs go for year one. So I will say, I think it depends on what your kind of frame of reference is. But I think 50% is not terrible for this kind of program in year one. As far as what are our carrots and sticks, there are a few built into the program. We do have the ability in the ordinance to fine people for non-compliance, and the intention from the beginning development of this program was always that was not going to likely be used in year one, or maybe even year two. That's really, we wanted to start this by offering the support, and the carrots, I think, are in one hand, we are offering a lot of help, especially this year, while we have the staff ability to provide more help. And we had consultants at the very beginning of this as well, who were also helping some folks through the pilot. So assistance with doing the work to understand your building energy and be positioned to take advantage of grants and incentives and rebates was definitely, I think, part of it. Also, incentives for, this program can help you save money and make your buildings comfortable and make your buildings more valuable. I think there's a lot of benefit there for building owners who understand what all of those benefits really can be. And that's definitely a part of the messaging as we go forward with the program, is really to kind of focus in on that kind of benefit to the homeowner, or to the building owner. And then, lastly, we have a following phase of this program, the beyond benchmarking phase, which requires buildings to either be high performance or to take steps to improve their building by starting with an energy and water audit. And those things are not exactly cheap for a large commercial building. So one of the kind of built-in incentives is to avoid having to do that audit. You do your benchmarking in year 1 and 2, and you make those improvements early, and you might be able to avoid having to do that costly audit. And so that's kind of baked into the program, that kind of carrot and stick in one, if you will, of trying to make the improvements sooner than later. And, you know, kind of going back to the climate emergency point of earlier improvements are better for us from a climate perspective, was part of the thing there.
Thank you for explaining that. That sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Barbara and Nyla.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna ask, so when we go to the state in August, is that, you know, because I know part of the grant was, and, you know, part of my, like, the really exciting ambition is that we can, like, roll this program out to other communities, which is why I think one of the reasons I think Michelle's idea is so great is because at some point we've got to sell this to other communities. So those sort of anecdotal personal touch things will be really important then. So, but like, just trying to get the timeline back in my mind, August is when it starts rolling out to the other people. When in the timeline does that come? I've kind of, that's out there, I know.
So, I mean, we have already developed a toolkit for other jurisdictions to pick up and, you know, replicate our program. Our grant ended technically at the end of the first quarter. We submitted our final report to the Air District on the grant at the end of April. That toolkit is on our website and available to any jurisdiction that wants to use it. And we have participated. We presented to the county-wide sustainability working group, RICAPS. Was that just in March, I think? And I presented to a Bay Area-wide group, the Bay Ren Forum, last summer. And we've actually worked with the consulting team, who is no longer, you know, working for us, but they asked if we wanted to submit a few proposals for conferences this summer, which we went ahead with. So I don't know if those proposals will be accepted, but we're going to continue to try to tell people, hey, we made this program and we have resources if you want to do it too.
Cool. Yeah, I think I wasn't aware of all of that. So that's really great to hear that it's already getting pushed out there, because, you know, if we make our climate goal, if Little Brisbane makes its climate goals, it's not gonna fix the world. But if we can inspire others, then it's a multiple effect.
Yeah, and at one point the Air District had asked about having us come to present to, I believe, their board or maybe one of their committees. And that was right around the time that COVID was starting. And so that ended up getting canceled because they canceled the meeting and they never asked us back. But I am hoping that maybe they will sometime ask us to come back and present to their board or committees that are, you know, elected leaders from around the Bay Area.
Nyla? Oops, Nyla has her hand up.
Yeah.
Oops, on mute.
Oh, I was just gonna dial back to Shauna's question just to elaborate on that. I think that's all it was. Should I go?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't know if you were finished. Yeah. So everything that Adrian said, I think just from day to day, firsthand, kind of working with the building owners as well. You know, the biggest challenge I think in terms of compliance has been, you know, actually reaching folks. You know, I think that would be, you know, sometimes like we'll send out an email or a letter and then not hear a response. So we can only assume that they received it. But if there are any ideas that that you have or anything that you think that we could definitely do better in terms of outreach, like we've sent out letters, we've sent out emails, we've made phone calls, and with everything being virtual, you know, of course, there's only so much that we can do. And so, if you know of like a list where there's a bunch of like commercial owners or any ideas that you have in terms of outreach, I think that we can definitely take some considerations as well.
Glenn?
It cost a little money, but we could consider certified mail or registered mail to ensure that it's received anyway. Maybe COVID is part of the problem. A lot of businesses have, kind of suspended in-house operations. So I'm hoping that, the easing of restrictions will help. But certainly after restrictions are fully lifted, I think, sending letters by mail, certified or registered, might be helpful.
Shauna?
I was thinking that I'm sure the city sends some sort of licensing or something to these businesses. Could they include flyers with that kind of official things, things they have to do every year, every 4 years, or I don't know how often they have to do business licenses or some sort of official thing? Could it be sent along with that?
Business licenses are annual. The trouble is our requirements are for the building owner, and business licensing is, the business that's operating. So it's not always the same.
Okay.
So, it's definitely something that we could try, but I mean, we did try to send letters. We sent letters back in February to everyone who we could come up with who we thought was a building owner or tenant or leasing agent or property manager. We sent over 200 letters. Nyla, I don't know if you're still counting how many phone calls you've made, outreach calls. Not the ones responding to other people's, but I think last count you told me it was over 200 as well. Not to mention all of the emails. We've really tried every way we can come up with to stalking CalSTRs
on the internet,
trying to figure out who we needed to call at CalSTRs to get them the notice to the right people, and they are one of the groups of people who we are in touch with, and they are working on it. They are one of the big groups of extensions. So, yeah.
I have it's not a question, just a comment. I'm sure a lot of the companies are in the biotech industry. Do you know what percentage of those that you contact are biotech?
I do not, because again, remember we're focused here on building owners, not necessarily
building owners. Okay.
So yeah, we may know of, we could probably go through the list and see what percentage of the building we have assumed is categorized as a lab type of facility.
Yeah.
That's about as close, I think, as we could really come up with as far as.
The only reason I ask is because there is a biotech facilities group that I could probably get contacts for you that would probably help.
Are you referring to biomed facilities?
No.
Biotech facilities group. Yeah.
No, biomed facilities is a specific, one of the specific companies, but this sounds more like an industry, a trade group, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That might be a good idea for us to follow up with you on that.
Okay. All right. Just throw it out there. I think, did anyone else have any questions? Okie doke. Well, that was a great discussion. Thank you, Nyla.
Thank you, Nyla.
Thank you. And to go from, no programs, right, to a program where you have, 50%, that's awesome. That's great. It's only going to get better. So we appreciate all your hard work. So thank you.
Yay. Thank you.
Okie doke. So that's it for staff updates. So now we're going to move on to subcommittee reports and reorganization. Oops, Michelle has her hand up.
I do. Before we start subcommittee reports and reorganization, I would like us to really delineate what the responsibilities are of subcommittee members, and what their tasks are, and what, when you sign up for a subcommittee, what's expected. Because in the last couple of subcommittee meetings, I've been stood up after I took time to out of my workday. And other times people have been like more than 20 minutes, 30 minutes late. So I'd just like to set expectations before we reorganize about what your responsibilities are on a subcommittee and what's expected and the level of commitment to your subcommittee members. I just think it's important. I was really disappointed about that. So I haven't always, been on top of what, everything either. So I just want us to be aware, especially since we have a couple of new members on the OSEC, of what's expected on different things and when we do our subcommittees. Thank you.
So with that, Adrian or Karen, do you just want to give an overview of what we're expected to provide as being on the committee or being head of the committee?
By committee or in general?
I think in general to start,
Yeah.
and then maybe by committee when we, before we select who's going to be working on the committees.
Yeah.
And certainly what's expected when you commit to a subcommittee meeting.
Yeah. So I guess, I mean, just in general, I would say, I think, Michelle, you kind of covered the basics here with the, show up to the meetings prepared and on time as kind of a general rule. Most of the subcommittees don't have a regular, actually, I don't know that any have a regular meeting schedule like we do for the full committee. Most of them are organized, meeting by meeting. A lot of them are ad hoc, so they meet very infrequently. I would say probably the Climate Action Plan subcommittee is the one that is probably most consistent as far as meetings. And then, some of the others who have an active project and will probably go away after that project ends, like invasive species ordinance or dark skies ordinance, are probably a more short-lived kind of thing. A few of these subcommittees are with other committees. So for instance, Sierra Point Park Planning, Crocker Trail Master Plan, and sometimes the events subcommittees often have counterparts from the Park and Rec Commission. So there's a lot of coordination that has to go into scheduling those meetings on the part of staff, and it is very challenging, as we are currently finding with trying to schedule the events subcommittee with Parks and Rec for planning other habitat days in the year. So I guess I would just say do your best to try to be as flexible as you can with the schedule, and do commit when a meeting is scheduled, do commit to being there, because it does take a lot of work behind the scenes to get that on the calendar. As far as other things about the subcommittees, we have a number of subcommittees, though not all, that have a lead in bold on this list. And I think those subcommittees tend to be the ones that may have a little bit more kind of self-direction among the subcommittee members, whereas some of the others that don't have a lead designated are more led by a staff member, myself or Karen or Bob. So that's just, something to be aware of. Most of the time the subcommittees meet with one staff member or maybe a couple of staff members, depending on the committee, but there have been times where subcommittees have met independent of staff. We cannot have more than 3 members on any subcommittee, and a number of the ad hoc subcommittees are really just one or two because they are with those other folks, or an appointment to a council subcommittee or something of that sort where it is capped at two. So I think everything basically Baylands subcommittee down is restricted to one or two. Actually, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. Tree issues, festival tree, Whitman Science Fair, those could all still be three. And everything above Baylands subcommittee is allowed to have up to 3 members. Anybody? Karen, do you want to add anything?
No, I think that's pretty good background.
I don't know how much background we want to give. I honestly feel like subcommittee members are probably better suited to give background on each subcommittee, or maybe, you know, kind of give the subcommittee report for this month, talk about what you've worked on recently, to give the new members, well, and everyone a sense of what the committee's working on, and then we could go through the reorganization.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's just do an update on each of the subcommittees, and then we'll loop back and reassign, I guess. Okay, so first, open space, which is myself and Michelle. And I know we really haven't had a meeting in a while, right?
Yeah.
No.
So I'll speak to that for a second. Oh, Barbara, you had your hand up. Did you have something you wanted to say before I start?
Yeah, I was hoping that Adrian could just zoom out just a little bit, because I'm still having screen problems for some reason.
Click. I'm not sure if I can.
How about now? You're just in that mode.
Barbara, are you aware that you can change your screen options by
I've been clicking around this whole time, and for some reason it's convinced that my screen is like 4 inches larger than it actually is. I have.
Okay, so if you go to view options and you exit full screen.
I did that.
Okay, and then there's a little bar separating the page from the people, and you can move that back sideways, horizontally.
Tried that. Tried going in and out of full screen mode several times to see if it would, going one way or the other, it would fix itself.
Okay.
I'm on Greg's computer today. I'm not on my usual computer. So it's just not behaving in a way that I'm really happy with. I don't know why.
Okay.
I don't know if having it in, you know, this outside of presentation mode helps at all, or
it
not.
helps tremendously. It fixed it. I don't now it recognizes the screen size as what it is.
All right.
Why it's having
if I return to presentation mode, does that still?
Yeah, I've lost half my screen again. I don't know why.
I mean, I'm fine to keep it in this mode, if that's fine with the rest of you.
Can you still
Sure.
It works.
Sure.
Okay, so the open space subcommittee was originally formed to look at the Brisbane acres and the open space plan, and work on getting more open space, and also work on updating the 2001 open space plan, and reevaluating some acres in terms of making them a higher priority habitat wise, and also making sure that the acres that have already been purchased or preserved by the city of Brisbane, that those are in perpetuity. And we have not met for a very long time. There have been so many other things going on, and we've requested to be able to meet and really strategize about updating the open space plan. So that's where that committee's at. We haven't met.
Yeah, I've struggled to, you know, get a meeting out or a meeting request out to you guys, but I know that quite a while back, we went over what criteria to change and what additional acres would be in a, I don't know if it would be a second tier of preservation or what, but that could be something. I don't know if that's gonna, if anyone else is gonna want to join that, but that could be something you guys put a draft together if I'm the thing holding it up, you know, for a starting point.
Both Barbara and Jason have their hands up.
Oh, do I?
Yep.
Oh,
That's from
Barbara,
before.
you left your hand up. I would like to get involved. I'd like to help out and learn and see where it was at.
Okay.
We have space for one new committee member. So if there's no one else that wants to raise your hand for that, I think we could just go ahead with that.
Okay.
Is that the cat, Glenn's cat wanting to be in there?
Okay. Next, the climate action plan. We have Ross, Barbara, and Glenn on this committee. And so I'm not sure who, there's no, I don't think we have a lead.
We
No,
don't.
I am typically involved in that committee. Karen joins us as she can or as our agenda requires. And Nyla has been joining us as well. Their latest effort was the climate emergency declaration, but have also worked extensively on the building efficiency program and other implementations of our climate action plan, our existing climate action plan. And eventually, when we are able to update the climate action plan, would be the body to do so as well. Anybody have anything they want to add to that?
no, I mean, like I guess just our focus is a little more narrow than OSEC in general. Our focus is a little more on CO2e, like getting that number down through the climate action plan and through other actions. But that's not, we don't exclusively do that, but that's kind of the focus of that subcommittee.
Okay.
You know, we can go through them, and if people later say, oh, yeah, I'm interested in that, then we can go back to one.
Yep. Okay. Events, that would be Michelle and myself. And we really haven't had any, we didn't have many in 2020. I don't think we had any at the beginning of the year.
We had one in 2020, and it was very successful. That was
we had the
Recycled Arts and Crafts contest.
That was a big to-do. That's correct. My bad. Sorry.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It was so virtual.
Yeah, it was. And it was successful. It was great. And we're just getting up and running with the Habitat Day that was just announced by Bob on June the 12th. So that's it.
Can I say a couple words about that, Mary?
Yeah.
One of the big things that events committee does is Day in the Park. And it looks like we are going to have Day in the Park this year. And it means that you need to help organize the Day in the Park activity, whatever it is going to be, and be there and be present and participate with you know, we usually have a booth, and most of the members help out on that, and it would be really great to have some, you know, I've been doing it for a long time, and it'd be great to have, you know, Carl was on the committee with us, and Claire was on the committee with us, but they haven't been here for a while. So it is a committee that needs some new energy, you know?
Yeah. I've been on that committee since I started, so.
I have too.
Yeah.
That's even longer.
Okay.
And I'm always like split because Day in the Park Mountain Watch also has a booth, and it's like, where do I sit? We have to make sure the booths are next to each other because I can go back and forth. Barbara's participated a lot in that in the past, and so it's kind of a little bit more fun.
Yeah, it is. And at the end of the day, it seems everything comes together. It may seem a little chaotic at first, but once
Yeah.
we get started and organized it, it's actually a very successful event.
Yeah, and in Day of the Park, everyone is expected to come and
Yeah.
help out and do us some time,
Yeah.
you know.
Okay, so that's a little bit background on that. The next one is education and outreach, and that's Glenn and I. It includes various different outreach programs, including a library display. So getting some space in the new library, which I have an update on. I actually went into the new library and spoke to Carrie, who's currently managing it, and took the opportunity to introduce myself and said I was with OSEC. She goes, oh, yeah, I've been in contact with Adrian, and Tamika's coming back, and we have you on our list, because I was eyeing a couple of the displays. I'm like, oh, that would be great for OSEC. And she goes, oh, we're going to get back to you. So anyway, I plugged for OSEC, and hopefully they are going to be contacting you, Adrian. So, but anyway, it's just getting, educating the public on like climate change, educating the public on sustainability, educating about, trash, and et cetera, et cetera. So Glenn, did you want to add anything?
No, just that I'm looking forward to working with the library to set up a good display there. We really, the old library did not have a good space for a display. So I'm glad that you located one.
Oh, they have, there's, I don't know if anybody else has been in there, but it is beautiful. It is gorgeous. There's plenty of space. I mean, they have books everywhere already, but I think they should be able to move a few things around in order to provide OSEC with what we need.
I'm looking forward to going. I haven't had a chance yet. It's just been a horrible semester, but it's nearly over. So I'm looking forward to going to the new library.
How busy is it to be able to get in?
It was on a Saturday. It was the day they opened. And so I was coming back from a walk and I said, oh, it's open. Let me mosey on over. And, had my mask, went in and just walked. It's just gorgeous. You guys have to go and check it out. A lot of areas where you can read. There's an area in the back for kids to do some artwork. There's just a lot of different activities. Oh, and they have a wall of laptops that you're able to check out. It's just like a wall of laptops. I couldn't believe it. But it's very well done.
Great.
And very peaceful. So
and just to add, one of the things that this subcommittee did a while back, maybe it was even pre-Adrian, was came up with a list of climate change sort of focused movies and documentaries for people to watch, and books too. So then they've done some really interesting things to do.
That dates back to when I was on the education and outreach subcommittee.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Sorry.
I was just saying the list of books and movies dates back to when I was on.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
The education and outreach subcommittee.
Great.
Oh, classics.
Yeah, we need that display, that's for sure. So anyway, Carrie is the current manager, and I think Tamika's coming back. So that's the update on that. So if you're interested, when we loop back, speak up. Next subcommittee is the invasive species ordinance, and currently we have Barbara, Michelle, and Glenn on that committee. And there's no lead. So,
sure. Karen, were you working with this subcommittee? I don't feel like I've been involved with them.
No, both Bob and I.
Okay. Yeah.
We met, what was it, a month ago, a month and a half, and had a conversation about an initial draft. And I think, Michelle, you were going to write something up.
Yeah, I haven't done it yet, but I've been certainly thinking about it and taking notes on it. And basically, I was going to write up what for each of the 6 or 7 species that we're targeting, it's going to write up proposed conditions based on either acres or not acres, or actually interface with wildland or not interface, and what the ordinance would say on each one, because each one has a different sort of set of conditions associated with it. Like ivy has a different set of conditions than cotoneaster, than jubata grass, etc. So I still need to draft that, and it's been on my mind. I've been like working it out in my head of like how we should proceed with it's sort of like the subcontext in the overall ordinance. And also I was approached by the Millers about strengthening with, the city did an emergency ordinance for weed abatement and not fire abatement, and about strengthening that and kind of combining, using some of that with the invasive species ordinance as well. And that's where that's at.
Okay. Thank you. And that's one subcommittee that would potentially get completed and go away, right?
Hopefully.
And
Yeah.
you guys have been on the carrot side writing articles to form the public too. So it wasn't just like, here's the law, you're going to get fined. It's like, here's why you want to do this, and start now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gotta move that along, because we did some really great work, and now I'm sort of like, what did we do? It's getting rusty. We gotta keep going.
So let's,
Okay. So next, dark skies ordinance, and that's Ross, Barbara, and Michelle.
I think we're nearly complete. We have a draft ordinance. The draft ordinance was reviewed. We got some feedback. I need to incorporate that feedback. Speaking of things getting a little rusty, I kind of dropped that one a little bit in favor of the climate emergency declaration. But maybe now that that's behind us, maybe next week I can go back through and incorporate that feedback and push it out.
we absolutely need to incorporate the feedback about having residential in the ordinance and tightening that up a lot. And that was the meeting that we scheduled that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we had been working to potentially schedule a next meeting, and then realized that was probably not going to happen before this meeting happened, and the subcommittee may get reorganized. So we have a tentative proposed meeting next Wednesday. I think we said next Wednesday at 5. But if the subcommittee changes, then we will want to, confirm that or look at a different date for whoever.
It's imperative that we get this on the books as soon as possible, because, like for instance, there's a lot of construction going on at Sierra Point, and the parking lot at the yacht club is like daylight at nighttime because of the lighting that the new buildings have installed. I just got a complaint from somebody that the Alamand Hotel on Mariposa and San Bruno has installed new security lights that are absolutely blinding to anybody walking by and to the neighbors. And so we really need to get this on the books and make it tight as soon as possible. So let's move forward with that as quickly as we can.
Okay, thank you. The next, the Baylands subcommittee is actually a new subcommittee, and Ross and I are on that committee. And we had our first meeting last week or
Last
week
week,
before? Yeah, which we already talked about. So, and that will be ongoing for quite a while, I would imagine.
So they start building.
I really think that I really think that Glenn has done a tremendous amount of work on the sustainability issues on the Baylands, and I wish you were on that, Glenn.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
I'd love to join that one if we have room for a third.
So I guess I'm not sure that I have a whole lot of clarity on this subcommittee. I'm not sure if this is an ongoing thing. My understanding is that the meeting that took place last week was specifically invited OSEC because of the topic, and I'm not sure, if there's some. I don't know, Karen, if you have heard any more about whether this was a one-time invitation, an ongoing invitation. I just have not really heard what exactly that is. My understanding is that, we were specifically invited because of the topic, and I'm not sure what the topic of the next meeting is and if we are or are not invited. So I am hoping that we will have some more clarity on that.
Well, we got invited to a meeting, another one that got canceled and pushed out to June. So,
where did you see June? I had not heard that.
It was in an email that we received.
Yeah, I saw something.
Right, Ross? Yeah.
So I'm looking for it right now.
Yeah, it was from Angel. So anyway, I just assumed that it was a subcommittee that would be ongoing. So if that's not the case, then so be it. But I saw there was Park and Rec was on there. There was a few other new members.
I think there's going to be.
What is it going to do?
Sorry. Go ahead.
I really don't know. We were invited because of, carbon reduction and what the developer was planning on doing. And really the meeting was about how to balance the usage and generation of solar power on the Baylands. Correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian or Ross, but that's, I thought that was the gist of the meeting. And
yeah, the developer
with all the generation from solar. Oops, excuse me.
Yeah, I was just saying the developer was sharing their draft renewal.
Yeah.
And they didn't. I don't think they talked anything about some of the other controversial issues like building height, did they?
No, they did not. It was strictly related to energy and all the different solar panels that would be on the site and how it would generate more power than what we would need. And the problem is storing that power. And so they talked about having lots of batteries to store that power, and that the battery, where the batteries would be held would be located where PG&E is on Bayshore. So there was a lot of questions and comments regarding that. And so.
When you were right about the meeting, it's June 17th at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
10.
Okay. Yeah. So anyway, maybe we can get some clarity on that, Adrian. And I don't know.
Yeah, we'll be looking into that.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't even know if there's room for a third, So
my understanding is there probably is not, because it is one of these things with other committees and council members, and generally those are capped to 2 members of each body.
Gotcha.
But yeah, that is something that we need to clarify and also find out about this June meeting, because I'm not
getting
about it.
And the other thing too, I'd just like to note, as the meetings, I have a job besides this. And so these meetings are scheduled at 10 o'clock in the morning. And I don't know how that is determined, but I'm sure most of the folks that are volunteering on these committees are working folks. So it's kind of hard to juggle that if it's early in the morning. But anyway.
Not me right now.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we weren't really privy to the planning of the meetings either.
No,
took us
Yeah,
for-
I know. Yeah. So anyway,
scrambled to make our calendar accommodate, and then had a meeting get canceled and
I know.
rescheduled and scrambled again. So yes, I'm sorry that we can't give you more on that at this point.
Yeah, that's
but
fine.
I will be trying. We'll be
Yeah.
trying to get that sorted out.
Okay, next subcommittee, or it's ad hoc, is the Sierra Point Park Planning, and Barbara is currently representing OSAC.
Yeah, this is a very brand new.
Yeah, that's a new one.
Started doing
Yeah.
it. So,
Yeah, that's a new one. And then the next subcommittee is the Crocker Trail Master Plan, and I was the OSAC representative, and that's kind of wrapping up, I think. There was a draft sent to council, and I'm not sure what's pending now is the we're surveying, I guess, the ground to try and determine what type of covering would be suitable. Is that correct? That's correct, Karen, right?
Well, that's the resurfacing projects. The master plan is the resurfacing and everything in the future that
yeah.
Vision.
So the whole design of the trail.
Yeah, on the master plan, I believe the final is going back to council. The consultant's bringing it back in June, and then that'll be done. That'll be the document that informs improvements on the trail.
Yeah. Can I just ask a question just to clarify? I know that we all advocated for Quarry Road to be part of this project, this master trail plan, and it was all decided, yes, Quarry Trail will be part of that. It was in the survey, it was like 80% voted on. But I just want to, I never heard that Quarry Road will be included in the paving side of it. So I'd like clarity on that.
Oh, it is not part of the resurfacing.
It is not.
No, because it wasn't when we applied for federal funds for the resurfacing before the master plan was even like envisioned or started.
Huh. So
then we've kicked off that federal process. So you have to have a field review. The state administers the federal funds, so Caltrans. So you have a field review, you look at the site, and they tell you, here's what you have to study environmentally to pass NEPA, the federal National Environmental Protection Act. And then we do CEQA on our own because we're in California. So you've described the project, you've set the limits out, and you study that. So there was never, the amount of funding we got never could have paved Quarry Road, and it was never in the scope for the resurfacing. It was in the scope for the master plan of like, let's look for other funding to make Quarry Road better too.
Okay. Well, I think the community, like myself, I thought that was going to be included just because of all the surveys we went through and.
Yeah, in the master plan.
Yeah, I get that.
But the resurfacing grant happened before we even started the master plan.
Yeah, I know that, but I think the public will probably need to know that as well. I don't think they get that. I think because everybody took this survey and they put Quarry Road as, it should be included in the master plan. I think they may think that it will get repaved. So just throwing it out there. That's all.
Now I understand. Okay.
Right. So that's all. And that's why I'm asking. And I think Glenn has her hand up.
Just a quick comment. I was just going to say that Quarry Road really needs a lot of work. Half of it is trying to slide down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is. There's areas where there are huge chunks missing. And although I do have to say that I think it's looking a lot cleaner. It looks a lot better. Someone's doing work on there. So I noticed a lot of ivy off a few trees.
Yeah.
So I have noticed that, so which is great. But I just need a clarification on that paving and whether or not Quarry would be included. And it sounds like it will not because we got funding prior to including it. So.
Yeah, and I want to say, when the master plan was unfolding, we'd already applied for this grant funding. So, the public works engineering staff was really, that's partly why I attended all of those master plan meetings, because the resurfacing part, we want to be aligned with the master plan. I wanted to hear what people wanted. So I was kind of focused on that. And in terms of the master plan, now I'm not, did we make many comments about Quarry Road? Like, I don't remember that being focused on.
Well, if you go back and look at the survey results, you'll find that Quarry Road was at the top of the list.
But then what I'm asking is, in terms of the consultant, like, what did they say about Quarry Road? What do they recommend? It just wasn't my focus at the time.
Well, I mean, they didn't, I don't think the survey came out and asked directly whether or not, do you want Quarry Road repaved? I think it was basically the usage. How often do you walk Quarry Road? Right? And so I think just based on the type of questions that were asked, people may think that Quarry Road should be part of the paving project. So I just want to, that's why I'm asking. Michelle?
I think that there's a challenge there because the type of paving that they're going to do on Crocker Trail is different than the type of paving that Quarry Road has already been, because Quarry Road is an asphalt pavement, used to be a roadway, whereas I think the Guadalupe Circle is going to be some kind of, crushed whatever, isn't it? Yeah. So maybe we can work with the city to get the regular road paving type of crew out on Quarry Road and do repairs, just like we would do repairs to any city street, to take care of it and address the issues that we're concerned about, Mary. Is that a possibility, Karen? Get Public Works out there to, definitely smooth out some of the potholes so that it's actually safe for someone in a wheelchair or a motorized chair to go up and down it. And it would be a good thing to do right away, even before we finish the Guadalupe circuit, because it is heavily used and there are areas that are hazardous. And I think that might be a good stopgap, especially since it's regular pavement, not some kind of fancy stuff we're going to install.
Yeah.
There's not a real short answer to that, because
no,
the way that we maintain roads, the funding source is sales tax and gas tax, which can only be spent on public roads where gas is bought or vehicles drive.
Mm-hmm.
Or complete, some of it can go to Complete Streets project, and you don't have enough to maintain. It's not very much as it is to maintain roads. So Quarry Road doesn't have vehicle traffic other than if we maintain it. And it's slipping because it probably needs a retaining wall on that downside.
Yeah.
So, we could put some permapatch out there, which we put in potholes, but it's a big area. It's a lot bigger than a pothole. And if you add weight, it slides even more. It's a tough problem. It's an expensive problem without an obvious funding source.
Mm-hmm.
But the longer we wait, the worse it's getting. And I don't know what the solution is there.
Maybe the city engineer can take a look at it and make some reasonable suggestions of maybe some things that are feasible in the short term and the long term for shoring up both the side of Quarry Road and for mitigating the current hazards on the actual surface that's surviving.
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff we could do that's inexpensive, that could be marking it or putting caution tape,
Caution, yeah, yeah.
So that people don't fall, but
yeah,
it's impossible to probably make that meet an ADA standard anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just a heads up, given that the community weighed in on what they would like to see, in that survey, and Quarry Road was at the top of the list. So that's all. I'm just putting it out there because I think we'll get some pushback once the trail starts getting repaved. So I think that that's enough for the Crocker Trail.
Well, can I just add one more thing too, is that the funding, the federal, I said federal funding to do the trail, we kind of shoehorned it in to a bike ped improvement program as a commuter connectivity route. So people from the Ridge could get to central Brisbane, kids could get to school, people could go to businesses and be separated from traffic on their bikes or walking. So that's, Quarry Road didn't exactly fit that category. I mean, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't considered part of the scope, but.
Yeah. But Quarry Road is, you know,
It's actually more applicable.
Yeah, it's a connector to the school. It's a connector to the businesses. So.
Well, I mean, I could see how it connects to Whitman, but I don't think it really connects to the businesses very well.
Oh, absolutely it does. You just go right down that little ramp and you're right there, and you don't have to deal with the traffic on Valley Drive or on Park Place or on Visitation. It's actually a really safe way to ride your bike to a business in the industrial park, or to ride your bike over to the Northeast Ridge. It's a lot safer than
and
taking
actually,
city streets.
With that other new project that's going back in the quarry, right? That was
let's get them to do it.
That's being looked at.
Yeah, I mean that's fine. I would propose that developer clean that whole road up, but it's just really, you know, I just think we need to be thoughtful and be aware that when the project does kick off, that you may get some pushback from the community about quarry not being part of the repaving. That's all.
How about tree issues?
Yeah. How about thank you, Barbara. Tree issues. So that's Barbara, myself, and Michelle. And currently we have the charter for the tree committee that's sitting out there. I've sent the final to you guys. And we discussed that at the we had a subcommittee meeting, and we made changes to the charter, and I made the changes and sent them around along with the data set of all the trees that were removed and not replaced.
Just for the whole group to explain what the tree committee, the tree issues committee is about, is that, does someone else want to explain that?
Oh, go ahead, please.
Okay. The idea was that we really need to manage our trees in the city of Brisbane, both private trees and public trees, and tree permits, and we've lost several large canopy trees over the last couple of years, and so there's great concern about that, and just tree health in general, and also to form a group where we could sort of help people with taking care of their trees, or get help for them to take care of their trees. So it was kind of a multi-tree focused task force, both for city trees, street trees, private trees, tree permits, and tree health. Does that kind of cover what it was very ambitious goals of what we wanted to do as a oversight on tree issues in the city of Brisbane?
Sounds good to me. Good overview.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, there are people who know a lot, new people on the committee, like Shauna, who knows a lot about this.
Yeah.
Just saying.
The experts, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, next one, festival tree.
I definitely want to cede my place on this committee. I don't want to be on this committee anymore.
So it's Michelle,
the first round broke my heart.
Yeah.
Well, we were looking for another tree that could grow up and possibly fill in for the festival tree that we use now, should that one be incapacitated further than it is. And what we found was that the public and everyone that grew up here and climbed that tree are very fond of it. and they don't care that it's a Charlie Brown tree. They love that tree. So at this point we were like, do we even plant something? Do we wait? No. And now, you know, we're in kind of a drought situation again. Do we want to plant another tree that could grow up and replace it? I kind of talked you guys into it, and then on the staff side, I got like, oh, maybe we should wait. So, you know, we could.
The committee voted. I mean, the OSEC committee voted to move forward with a holiday tree.
We did, yeah.
Yeah.
Along with Park and Rec, yeah. So,
Yeah, I abstained on that one.
So,
I noticed that the old deodore, it looks like it's leaning a little bit more than it used to me.
Oh, after tonight, it might lean even more.
Oh, wow.
God.
Yeah.
I saw that somebody at one point planted a very small pine seedling right next to the trunk of the tree that failed, and they even put like a little stake next to it and tied it up. And
was that you, Shauna? Come on, confess.
I wouldn't have. I'm more of a guerrilla gardener myself.
Yeah.
You'll never know what I do.
Gardening. I think it's the best.
So that's an ad hoc committee as well. And then the next subcommittee is the Whitman Science Fair judging. So every year, OSEC members participate in the Whitman Science Fair, and we focus on those projects performed by the students that are ecology focused. And so we join all the other judges and take a look around and nominate those projects that are worthy of the OSEC award. And so there's a couple of us on that, Barbara and I. And so that happens at the beginning of each year. And then the next three that are grayed out, I guess those are done, if I'm not mistaken.
They're on permanent hold, we're saying.
Okay, permanent hold.
Although they could be reassigned, I guess.
Okay. And, okay, do we need to talk about them?
I don't, beautification was before COVID and maybe kind of just fizzled for a while. It was a
I've never been
subcommittee.
called upon to do anything. It was Meg, and I took it from when she left. And
yeah, there were a couple of meetings while Megan was doing it, right? So maybe it could resurrect. That's what we were told. Just, you know, have someone in case. And then the 280 Southfield funds, the city sold a piece of property. They had a bit of funds. So far, those funds, some of them have been spent to do
for the master plan for the
Crocker Trail master plan, the bike ped master plan a number of years ago, and some of them are reserved to improve the Firth Canyon Trail.
Yes, yeah.
So there's probably more funds there, but there hasn't been an idea to use those funds.
Okay. And then the PCA grant.
That comes in a 4-year cycle. So
okay. So we're probably close to that, right? So
I think we're in the middle, but
in the middle,
could have more people. So
okay.
ABAG, Association of Bay Area Governments, has formed, has allowed agencies to apply to form priority conservation areas as a complement to priority development areas, and the idea of like concentrated development and then open space. So we applied for the San Bruno Mountain Priority Conservation Area together with the county and either South San Francisco or Daly City. Michelle, with her yellow highlighter, made sure the area was as large as possible. So now that area, which includes the habitat conservation area and more plan area, is qualified to apply for grants on that 4-year cycle that when ABAG releases them. And we did a good application last time, and then they kind of, don't want to use the word, messed us up.
Yeah.
Because they didn't receive our final application, and they didn't acknowledge that they.
That we applied.
What happened? What happened with it? Did it go in there?
It was like a timing issue, and then they're like, no.
And then they let us kind of make an appeal, but we didn't qualify that time. So that'll be something in a couple of years we'll want to resurrect that.
We should probably start doing that pretty soon, actually, and get our ducks in a row for this time around, so that we get some of those billions of dollars the state has.
All right, so we still have a lot to do.
Yeah.
And then liaisons to council is currently myself and Michelle. So now we're going to loop back to see who wants to do what. And the first is open space. So I heard that Jason was interested in being on the open space committee.
I plus one on that.
What, Barbara?
I said I plus one on that.
Okay.
Is anybody else interested in that? Mary, you gonna stick with it, or? Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad to give it up. If I'm on the Bayland subcommittee, I mean, we can only have what, 2 or 3?
Three.
Okay.
Three.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So we currently have Jason, Michelle, and I heard Barbara?
No.
No. Okay.
You,
Oh,
Mary.
okay. Yeah, that's me.
Sorry.
Okay. I mean, I'll stay on it. That's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so Rogers, Salmon, and Newman. Okay, next. Climate Action Plan.
Stay on it.
Okay.
I would very much like to stay on that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with giving someone else another go, just because I'm probably the least qualified member on that subcommittee.
Oh, no. Oh, no, that would be me.
You'd be
Join the club.
Oh, is there anyone else that's interested on being the third wheel on that one?
For what it's worth, Ross, I do think you are plenty qualified.
Okay. I mean, I appreciate it. I'm happy to stay on. I'm also happy to give someone else a go if someone else wants to do it.
Do we need to go through each one with uncomfortable silences, or do people just want to tell us what ones they're interested in?
I was gonna kind of go that approach too. Like, I think.
Oh yeah, I don't care.
I mean, I think this is, primarily Shauna and Jason as new members who are not on any committees or,
Right.
well, I guess Jason is on one now to say what you're interested in, and if there are existing committee members who are willing to or would like to relinquish any responsibilities.
Yes.
Barbara, you have your hand up, or are you just wiggling your fingers?
No, I'd kind of like to step off of invasive species ordinance.
Actually, I was kind of interested in that one and the tree issues. Both those two seem to would be interesting for me.
So invasive species, Barb believes there's a space for Shauna, and tree issues, there are 3, so someone.
Yeah.
I'm happy to give that up.
Hands. I will take that one to my grave.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't mind stepping down off of tree issues for Shauna.
Get out of your tree. I would, not to talk out of turn, but if the outreach includes reaching out to restaurants when it comes time to talk about their disposables, I would be willing to help with that.
That's great.
So we did not mention that, and actually I should have probably mentioned this in a staff update. We are hoping to participate in the county's sustainability ambassadors volunteer effort, and would be hoping to recruit from OSEC and from the broader community to do that outreach. So I didn't necessarily think of that as a role specifically for the Education and Outreach Committee, though I am open to having anyone and everyone from that committee or others participate in that effort.
Okay. So then I would offer there. Education and outreach and open space would do me for now as a new committee member. I'm good there.
Okay. We've got a space on education and outreach, so I think that seems.
Okay.
We usually have a third person on events. But we lost Carl. and there was nobody to fill in. And then festival tree, I don't want to do that anymore.
I'll pick up
Nobody else.
Festival Tree if one of our new members doesn't want it.
I think that's a can of worms.
Shauna, but you're the most qualified to help
Yeah, yeah.
decide if we're going to do a tree.
Yeah, but you
Here,
can't
here.
put someone
Yeah.
else on a controversial.
Awesome. Shauna, you're awesome.
Well, she saw the social media too.
But I'm not very tactful.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
okay. Neither am I.
That's great. That's
I don't think
wonderful.
any of us really qualify as tactful.
Hey, I normally do, Ross, but on that subject, no.
Oh.
Well, we'll give it a whirl and we'll see where we land. Well, eventually we'll all just throw up our hands and say, hell with it.
Yeah. We need to kind of even it out a bit. I had 6, now I have 5 because I'm off of Festival Tree. And Barbara had 6, and I think you have 5 now, Barbara? Did you just give one up? And then poor Mary had 8.
Yeah, I'm down to 7.
Ross has 4 and Glenn had 3. So
But a lot of the ones I'm on, the ad hoc, it's fine.
yeah,
right?
because they're
So
gonna
they're ad
go
hoc,
away.
so it's not too bad.
Okay.
I think having new members take on 2 isn't a bad start for them, you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
They want to see what the load is, you know.
Thank you.
I think, did you say Glenn has 3? She has 4.
4?
I
Wait.
do. No, I have 3.
She has 3.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
climate action plan subcommittee.
Yeah, that's a sinkhole of time. I mean, you're always, I
Yeah.
mean,
Up a lot of time.
right?
It's a heavy
It's a
load.
more intense,
It's a little
definitely.
disparaging.
Okay, so
Was there a decision on the festival tree? I'm trying to,
yeah, Shauna's gonna help.
Shauna, yay.
all right,
Awesome.
somewhat begrudgingly, but.
As long as I can still work on the regular tree issues.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, we got you there as
Now you
well.
have to pick.
Okay.
We're gonna pick out a tree small enough that no one will have objection to it.
The Charlie
That's the
Brown
new
Christmas
plan.
tree.
All right.
So
That's all
do you want to review who's where?
Or do you have it in the interest of time?
In the interest of time, let's.
I believe,
Okay.
I believe the only changes that I have are to add Jason to the open space committee.
Aye.
And also to education and outreach. Invasive species ordinance, drop Barbara and add Shauna.
Mhm.
Tree
And
issues,
then tree issues.
drop Mary.
Drop me and add Shauna. Yeah.
Festival tree, drop Barbara, add Shauna.
No, Festival Tree, drop Michelle.
Michelle.
Sorry, yes. That's what I
That's-
have written, but I'm reading.
Shauna.
Something else.
And I believe that's it.
Okay.
Did I miss anything?
No.
Good.
I think that's good.
I'd love to do, can I just be on beautification in case that comes back, unless Michelle wants to?
Nothing's happened. I'd kind of like to stay on there until something happens.
All right. I thought, for some reason, I thought you said you were going to give that one up, but I guess I
Nope. Festival Tree, gone.
All right.
Cool.
Okay, we're all good?
We have a plan.
I think so.
Okay, great. Okay, so let's move calendar items. Probably not much to talk about.
I do have one thing I want to mention under calendar items, and then can we put this on the calendar so everybody's aware of it, is that Mountain Watch is going to do the pancake breakfast on September 12th, if all goes well. So please, if we could include it on our calendar, just so that we don't do a conflicting event, and if everybody would be aware of it, and any and all volunteers would be welcome. We haven't done one for, it's an amazing event. Hey, Jason, you know how to flip pancakes, right?
Woohoo, you know I do.
Yeah, so it's going to be a big deal, and we're really excited to be able to have that again. So that's the only calendar item I really want to add.
You said September 12th.
September 12th, Sunday, September 12th.
I usually bring some gluten-free batter for everybody to go ahead and serve up.
Maybe you
For
can flip them this
everybody?
year too. Well, anybody who wants gluten-free, Barbara's provided gluten-free batter over the years, but we have our regular Mountain Watch special pancakes that we make that are really yummy.
Yes.
And totally fattening.
All the good stuff.
So we have the Habitat Day scheduled for June 12th.
Yeah, and then do we have the Coastal Cleanup Day scheduled, and then Planting Day in December?
September.
Yep.
September is Coastal Cleanup Day. I believe that's usually the third weekend of September.
Sounds right, but I think I'd have to double
Confirm
check.
that, yeah.
I don't know that I've seen that they've put anything out yet. I'm guessing, we might see it.
We have a placeholder. It's on the calendar. We have placeholders.
Yeah, it should be September 18th if all is normal.
So we wanted to suggest, and this I think is actually an important question with the discussion earlier of potentially moving ongoing committee meetings. We had discussed the potential for having a Brisbane Acres hike at our July meeting, which would have been July 21st. And we also had considered staff suggesting possibly canceling the June meeting, since normally we cancel a summer meeting, but we wanted to do the hike in July and then NYLA's final report on the building efficiency program in August. So that's a proposal from staff, but I think a question would be when that change to the meeting date would happen. We would need to check about the hike, because we've already confirmed the July 21st date with Mark Heath. And with NYLA, who is hoping to come up for short term to see people in person.
Michelle?
Yeah, we've had a really sketchy schedule this year. I really don't think that we should cancel any meetings except for the December meeting. And so I think that we should just move forward with our monthly meetings for now. And we have a lot on our plate. We didn't get as much done this past year as we had hoped. And I think canceling meetings is really not the best idea. In December would be the time to cancel a meeting, because that's when everybody's involved in other stuff. That's my feeling.
We just don't know when we would do the June now, unless we stuck regular date.
Unless we what?
Stuck with our regular third Wednesday.
Well, we could do that for June and then move to the first Wednesdays in July, or, I mean, sooner is better for Barbara, but
it's not going to kill me to go one more month,
Yeah.
But I thought July was the problem because you already had that scheduled.
Yeah, that's true. June, well, I don't know if people, so I'm not available the 4th Wednesday in June.
Neither am I.
Oh, right. We both booked
Bob is. Maybe Bob is. I don't know.
I didn't realize that what the meeting change consideration was, and we both booked a vacation the week after third Wednesday in June separately to visit family.
Well, if we're going for the third Wednesday in June, that would be, the first Wednesday in June would be June 2nd.
That's like 2 weeks away. I don't think that's happening.
We could.
It'd be short.
Yeah, we could. We could.
Yeah.
Be short and sweet,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could,
that might be a little difficult for us to scramble and get everything changed on the calendar.
So
accommodate all of the things that need to happen on staff's part to have a meeting in.
Well, otherwise the meeting would be June 16th is the third Wednesday in June.
Okay, so we should probably leave it there.
And you guys are going, will that interfere with your vacations?
No, we're both going the next week because we didn't know about.
We didn't know we would potentially be moving the meeting to.
So what we can do is ask about the hike on, that'll be our transition month. Why don't we ask, since we won't be televising, we can try to do the 14th of July.
And when did you decide to go on vacation together? When was that?
Not together. It just happened to be the same week. The week of June 21st.
Yeah.
So we would have a meeting on June 16th, and then we would have a hike on July 14th.
Well, we would have to check and confirm that, yeah. But I
And
have
then-
to schedule my meetings between OSAC and Complete Streets, so there's, limited.
Invite them on the hike.
July 14th is the second Wednesday.
Right, but we don't need to televise. We're just hiking, so we could be at the same time as Park and Rec.
Got it.
And then our next regular meeting would be August 4th.
Unless we go to the 4th, went the 25th, but yeah, right.
Right. Okay.
Okay, let's try that.
Okay.
Just an FYI, I can't miss. I've got something I got to do on the 16th, June 16th, so I won't be missing that meeting.
Okay.
Which means we need to reschedule the election of the chair and vice chair.
Isn't that on this? Oh, okay.
That's in June.
It's in June.
Okay. Just push it off a month and do it on the hike.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
All right, let's plan.
I want to go on that vacation with Bob and Karen.
You want to go where I'm. You want to go where I'm going. My sister lives on Martha's Vineyard, and I'm visiting her. So
nice.
Tag along.
Nice, sweet.
I want to go on mine. I'm going to St. Louis in summertime to meet my two new nephews and introduce my new son to the rest of the family. So,
Makes a mosquito repellent.
Okay. So everything else on the calendar looks good?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Now let's wrap up.
Yeah, let's wrap up. I don't think chair and member matters. I think we talked about.
We need a new picture.
Yeah, we do.
True that.
Ross,
You want a screenshot?
A Zoom shot. We're all actually here at least.
Oh shoot! Did my camera stop working?
Long time ago. And Barbara, unraise your
It's
hand.
flaky.
Hour and a half, Ross? 2 hours? Oh, there we go.
Sorry, it's kind of flaky.
All right. Just, yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can get a screenshot here.
We all put our cats in the picture.
Don't say meow.
Hang on. Wait. Oh,
No,
I don't think it's gonna.
let you.
Hey, Bob or Karen, can you try to do a screenshot? I'm sharing my screen and I can't. The pop-up is. I have no idea where.
I'm cradling my cat right now.
I'm on my phone, so I don't have much.
Oh man.
How do you go back to the view where you just have everyone?
I have mine set up so I can see everyone, but I can't find my screenshot thing.
Maybe not today.
What about
Yeah.
snipping? What
No, we're
about
all
snipping?
actually here. Hang on, I got it.
What
Okay,
about
give it one
snipping
more try.
tool?
I got one, but a few eyes were closed. Everybody smile and I'll do it now. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think I got it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Adrian, if you have Windows 16, 3 fingers up on your mouse pad is a new screenshot feature. No, Control Shift F.
I'm pretty sure I don't have.
I
I
shape
don't have
shifted it.
new anything.
Oh my god.
Pretty sure.
I'll send you what I got, Adrian.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason.
Okay, wrapping up.
All righty.
Meeting.
Next.
I second.
Okay. Next meeting, June 16th.
16th.
Okay.
I second the
Perfect.
motion.
Yeah. Meeting's adjourned.
Thank
All
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
You guys. Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.